Welcome to the latest edition of the channel. What if I told you the most glamorous event in fashion is hiding some of the ugliest truths? Today, we take a step back from the glitz and glamour of Paris Fashion Week to ask some difficult questions about the state of the fashion industry. What has Paris Fashion Week come to signify? Is it still relevant, or has it become a hollow performance that masks deeper, unresolved issues in the industry? Let's dive in. For any designer, editor, or brand, relevance is the lifeblood of success. Without it, nothing you do matters. But as we watch today's runway shows, we're forced to ask, are these displays of creativity truly relevant? Or are they simply entertaining spectacles with little to no impact on the cultural zeitgeist? Much of what is presented is visually impressive, but often devoid of any deeper meaning or connection to the world we live in today. How many speak to the broader realities of the time? Relevance cannot simply be bought through expensive fabrics and star-studded front rows. It must be earned through innovation and a reflection of the world beyond the runway. Paris Fashion Week in particular has perfected the art of illusion. We're meant to believe that all is well within the fashion world, that the beautiful shows we see somehow reflect a seamless, flawless industry. But behind those elaborate sets and perfectly tailored garments lies a reality that's far from perfect. The fashion world is often fraught with scandal, as brands juggle hirings and firings of designers and creative directors with alarming frequency. Management reshuffles, corporate takeovers, and pressure from investors dominate the backstage drama. It's an industry in constant flux, where the turnover of creative visionaries seems more like a revolving door than a strategic evolution. We cannot discuss fashion without addressing the darker sides of its supply chain. Child labor, environmental destruction, and unsustainable practices continue to haunt the industry, even as brands tout their latest sustainable collections. For every headline-grabbing initiative to reduce carbon footprints or introduce green collections, there are just as many revelations about exploitative labor practices in factories or irresponsible production methods. The hypocrisy is staggering, and yet the industry as a whole does little to reconcile these contradictions. We've seen scandals erupt across major houses, Balenciaga, Gucci, and Dior, and each time they're quickly brushed under the rug, their wrongdoings forgiven or forgotten by a distracted public, eager to move on to the next season's collection. For all the grandeur of its shows and the reverence with which the city is treated by the fashion elite, Paris still has work to do. European houses remain deeply entrenched in systemic issues like racism, both overt and subtle. This is not a new critique, but the progress has been painfully slow. Even in 2024, the lack of representation on and off the runway remains glaring. The late Virgil Abloh was an outlier, not the norm, and his passing only underlines the fact that the industry has done little to diversify at the highest levels. Where is the next generation of Black or Indigenous talent taking the reins of these storied houses? While the conversation around inclusivity has gained momentum globally, Paris remains one of the last bastions clinging to an old world standard of beauty. Plus-size models are rare, and BIPOC representation is inconsistent at best. The models that walk these runways are stunning, yes, but their flawless appearances create a barrier between them and the everyday consumer. The unrelatable image of beauty makes it harder, even for those who once identified with high fashion, to feel connected to what's happening on the catwalk. Let's talk business for a moment. The luxury sector is experiencing a downturn, with earnings in free fall for many once untouchable brands. Consumers are no longer buying into the myth of artisan craftsmanship being peddled for decades. They've woken up to the fact that much of what is sold as luxury is in fact mass-produced and marketed under the guise of exclusivity. People are savvier, less willing to shell out exorbitant prices for goods that no longer carry the prestige they once did. The focus has shifted from artistry to the bottom line. Luxury brands are now in a race to churn out more products, grow faster, and meet the demands of investors. Fashion has always been about fantasy, yes, but as we move further into the 21st century, we must ask, how long can that fantasy survive without confronting the real issues that lie beneath? At what point does the glamour fade and the truth, however harsh, impossible to ignore? So what are your thoughts? Has Paris Fashion Week lost its way? Can fashion regain its relevance without addressing these deeper issues? Or are we headed for an even greater disconnect between the runway and the real world? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more insights into the fashion world. Until next time.